Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope they're having a great day. Now, we know the NBA and the NBA Players Association agreed to a new CBA that's, 7 years, starting, I believe, after next year, with an opt out after six. Either way, it's good to see that the league and the Players Association are so lock in step that they got the CBA done before we had a lockout or anything. I think for these leagues, they're understanding lockouts aren't necessarily the greatest thing. You know, a lot of times they can kind of anger people. Whatever. Not the best public relations. I think right now the NBA is in a good spot in terms of the talent on the court. Maybe not necessarily with the load management and all that, which I'll get into here in a second. But the fact that they got the CBA done, definitely a big plus for Adam Silver as well as the Players Association. This is a question I've asked before, but it's like the NBA, the Players Association, out of all the leagues, I feel like they have the best relationship going right now. Because if you look at the NFL with their Players Association, everybody looks at it as like the owners always take advantage of the players. Yeah. Baseball, mess. NHL, I find the NHL's relationship probably isn't that bad, I think, but all things considered, I think the NBA is the best out of all the major leagues, the major sports leagues in America. This further proves that. You know, looking at what's in the CBA, I'm not gonna like go through every line, all that. That'd be too long. There's just certain things I do want to focus on. Mainly one in particular, I would say. But before I get into that one, I will talk about the what was the provision I was going to talk about? Oh, so the one and done rule. That's what it was. That we know that was part of the bargaining, whether the NBA was going to get rid of one and done, allow high school players back in. Looks like that's not happening. They're sticking with the one and done rule. I've been one of those who's been a proponent of some college. Because, yes, for every LeBron, for every Kobe, for every Kevin Garnett, guys like that who didn't go to high school, who went on to have really great careers. So a lot of high schoolers who felt like they were ready, got into a team system, completely fell off, and now we have no idea where they are. And yes, I understand. High school players are talented. I get that. But I hate seeing those stories of these guys where an agent or something probably hyped them up so much they went into the draft with this preconceived notion that they were an it guy. Then they get into these teams, falling off the face of the earth. That could be very damaging to a player that young, that early in their career. Now, that's not to say going to college for a year necessarily prevents all of that, but I'd rather see that be the pathway there. Now, what we're also seeing recent years is that some players are choosing the G League route instead of college, as their pathway to the NBA. I'm fine with that. I feel like it just has to be a year outside. Fine. That's why I'm cool with the one and done rule. I mean, I've also said, I think I said like once before, I wouldn't mind 2, 3 years like the NFL, but let's be real, that's never happening. I think one and done is the best you're gonna get. Now, one and done we've seen has changed the landscape of college basketball, where big schools are getting these one and done guys, pumping them out, replenishing them with more one and done guys. Yeah, you'd love to see teams be together like 3, 4 years, try to win multiple titles together. But look, it's an industry in sports where athletes want to make what they can for as long as they can. So I mean, you can't really do anything about that. But I do like it. High school kids go to the G League, go to college for a year, enter the draft. Fine. So that don't have a problem with. The the games limit for postseason awards, I do like that a lot because that's something that's been coming into focus in terms of load management. How does that affect postseason awards? Well, the NBA has basically said you got to play at least 65 games if you want to be eligible. If you play less than that, don't care how great your season was, you can't be eligible. I wonder if the league pushed for more. 82 game season, you're playing 65 games. That means you're missing 17 a year. Is that the end of the world? No. Part of me is like, I wonder if they could have pushed for 70 games. Maybe that was a line too far. Maybe. I wouldn't mind it if it was 70 games. You still got 12 games where you can play around with the schedule, sit out, and still be eligible. But 65, I get it. That's where we are. Which, I mean, even if that wasn't a effect for this season, a lot of the top competitors wouldn't be hurt by that. Looking at the MVP, I believe Embiid, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, all those guys, they played more than 65 games. Not a problem there. So at least it's on the books. It's got to be 65. I'm completely fine with that. Now, the one I did want to focus on, which might be the biggest talking point of this new CBA, the in-season tournament. We've learned about this for a few years now. We knew it was coming. Adam Silver's been talking about it. What was interesting was the details of it. So basically, think of it as, if you're a soccer fan, think of the World Cup. 8 groups, 4 teams, top 2 move to the knockout round, basically, till a champion is crowned. Maybe I'm in the minority with this. I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I kind of do. Now, that was my first thought. Then the next thing I did was I checked out European basketball leagues like Spain and all that to see if they had in-season tournaments. I think what I saw was they do. Because over in Europe, they basically just copy European soccer. European soccer in-season tournaments. If you watch Premier League, they have FA Cup, Carabao Cup, this cup, that cup. That all happen in the span of the season. Look at the MLS here in America. They have in-season tournaments. So it's nothing new. I know it's going to probably jar some NBA fans, but it can be done. Now, where I think the intrigue in it will be, will the big names actually play in the in-season tournament? That's where this is going to go. Will guys like Kawhi or LeBron or, Tatum, players of that stature, will they play in the in-season tournament? For me, as a fan, I could care less either way. Because if it's the big names, cool. If not, if I'm a Celtics fan, the Celtics are in the in-season tournament because every team will be, which I'll get to here shortly. Maybe the in-season tournament, I'll get to see J.D. Davison start a point to see what he can do. Because on the, I guess you'd say, the senior club, the regular team that we see 82 games in and out, he doesn't play a lot there. If I watch the G League, yes, I could see him play, but I'd like to see him in an NBA setting in a tournament style, which means the games matter, against other NBA caliber players. See what he has in that situation. Because then if he excels there, I could be like, hey, why isn't he on the main roster then? If he's dominating this guy on player X, who plays games on his team. So I think in that way it's gonna be fun. Summer League 2.0, whatever. I'm here for it. No problem with that. So the next aspect that was interesting about it was, if you're gonna have 8 groups, you need an even number of teams in the group. What goes evenly into 8? Well, what does 8 go evenly into? 32. We only have 30 teams in the league right now. Now that I think about it, I don't know if the actual release said anything about 8 groups, but follow me here for a second. This is another thing that Adam Silver has talked about before. I believe he said before, expansion is inevitable. It seems like 32 is kind of the sweet spot for a lot of these leagues that they want to get to, because one, you get even number of teams in each side of your conference, because right now it's 15 in the East, 15 in the West. The NBA would love to have 16 in the East, 16 in the West. So if you're going to do that, you're expanding to 2 cities, which, let's be honest, we can guess the 2 right now. The 2 cities I'm thinking about, the minute I said it, you probably said the same thing. It's the 2 that has to be the leaders in the clubhouse, going back to Seattle and Vegas. I mean, come on, that's obvious. Now, if you do bring in Seattle and Vegas, though, you would assume those 2 teams would be in the Western Conference. So that would make it 17 West, 15 East. A team would have to move from the West to the East. Would we finally see Memphis in the East? I mean, Memphis being in the West is a little odd based off of where Memphis is. I mean, Tennessee's to the north of Georgia, where the Hawks are. The Hawks are in the East, but Memphis is out west. Outside of that, New Orleans, but New Orleans is further west than Memphis, so that wouldn't make sense. I feel like Memphis would be the team on the table. Imagine an Eastern Conference at the top where you're sitting there with Milwaukee, Memphis, Boston, Philly. Okay, we got something. Once again, I guess Memphis would move into the Southeast Conference, a Southeast Division within the East to be with the Hawks, Wizards, Heat. So that makes sense. Now, it didn't put a date on the in-season tournament. I don't remember seeing that, but obviously we'd probably get the expansion first, then the in-season tournament. The CBA is 7 years. It's gotta happen pretty soon, I think. Maybe a year or 2. Maybe it gets announced like next year, and then the following year both teams are in. Keep that in mind. Because every team is going to be in the in-season tournament. So I think that's why most people automatically assume 8 groups of 4. I mean, right now it'd be like 6 groups of 5. But then for this, because the way we look at it is, if you're going to have 32 teams, your knockout round's got to be 16. So the best way to get there would be top 2 in the group moving on. If it's any less than 8 groups, then it's like the top 2 teams and then the next best third place teams, which can all get kind of a little convoluted. So expansion's coming. That's inevitable at this point. Now you can let me know down in the comment section if there's another city outside of Seattle and Vegas that gets the 2 expansion teams. The only city other than those 2 I would say is probably Vancouver. They used to be in Vancouver. Vancouver is a pretty popular city. It'd give you a second Canada team like before. Because if you don't know, Memphis Grizzlies used to be the Vancouver Grizzlies, then they moved. But I think Vancouver's probably better positioned for an NBA team now. And if you went Vancouver, I guess you'd go Vancouver and Vegas. I feel like Vegas is a lock. We've seen the NHL go there. The NFL's gone there. NBA has to go there. USA Basketball plays their games in Vegas. Like, come on, that's happening. The second team's where the question is, and it's got to be Seattle or Vancouver. If you have another team, if you have another city, let me know. If you go to Seattle, it better be the Supersonics. Bring back the old gear from the '90s, and I'm here for it. Yeah, it was an interesting, um, I guess, announcement about the in-season tournament. I think it could work. I think it was like a couple of years ago. If I remember correctly, I think Ricky Rubio was kind of in on it. He's the guy who played in Europe as a younger player, won a lot of tournaments there, and thought in-season tournament could break up the monotony of an 82-game season in the NBA. I kind of agree. I think some fans, if the big name players aren't in it, won't give it a chance. To them, you'll probably never get them. I think that like legit NBA fans wouldn't mind seeing the young players playing an in-season tournament. That's where I'm at. You let me know what you think, down in the comment section. But yeah, 7 more years of labor peace in the NBA. Always a good thing. I don't know which league is up next. But it's not the NBA. They got their stuff together. But thanks for tuning in. If you liked this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share. As I said before, leave a comment. Let me know what you think, so we can interact back and forth. But as I say at the end of every episode, be safe out there. God bless. I'll catch you next episode. All right, I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you.